What are the main policy points you think would be advantageous to the Republican Party right now to be working on?
Well, the Republican Party can't work on anything right now. It would have been nice if the Democrats proposed an actual infrastructure bill because, as you know, infrastructure is a key word for bipartisanship.
Right.
But when you have a bill that's introduced that even Democrats can't agree on, where the majority of it is not for actual roads and bridges,
But this isn't my
and
question.
I'm sorry.
I didn't ask anything. I'm just saying what should be the policy priorities of Republicans?
Well, if Republicans were in control, I think that lowering healthcare costs should be an important demonstration of their efforts to help Americans. Especially after the last year, Americans have consumed a lot of healthcare. So making sure that whether it's deductibles, out-of-pocket costs are not prohibitively expensive for Americans, and certainly making sure drug costs come down. I think you can work in a bipartisan way on that. Look, I know immigration is the third rail of politics, but we have got to revisit our immigration policies.
Right.
When our immigration policies are tailored towards the 1990s mentality of, well, you have people coming from Central America and Mexico to the United States to work, adults. You don't have 7-year-olds walking over by themselves. You don't have these coyotes, dropping these kids over the fence. That's the new normal in our immigration. And if Republicans and Democrats don't tackle this, that's going to have a huge impact on the United States and workers in the United States. We still have high unemployment numbers. And if we're allowing mass migration to happen and not doing anything to enforce the borders, we're going to have problems in all 50 states.
So healthcare and immigration would be your priorities if Republicans could get things done right now.
I think they just need to sit down and reevaluate the situation. I mean, what's happening right now is that you have coyotes bringing children across the border.
Yeah.
Why? Because our policies are not to send children back. Title 42, don't send the children back. They're allowed to stay here. That's why parents are willing to separate from a 7-year-old and allow a stranger to take them across the border for a better life in America. We have got to prioritize what are the needs of the United States. I'm sure there are needs that the United States has, and to say, okay, we are going to allow for this worker, that worker that we need, and then set immigration policies that way. But if we're nothing, we're a country of laws. And you have to reevaluate the entire situation. You can't look at laws from 30 years ago or 40 years ago and say, well, this is our immigration policy. Clearly, it's not working.
Yeah. I mean, it strikes me when you look at for Americans, I'm not saying immigration is not an issue. It just ranks very low in priorities. The priorities are, the state of the economy, jobs, wages, healthcare. You did mention, and I think that certainly would be there, although we might disagree about the solutions. Immigration is just quite far down the list for most Americans.
Well, I think that may change when you have, in the month of March alone, 171,000 migrants coming to our southern border.
Yeah, it's not really
ranked.
changing. I mean, the polling is pretty steady. It's just not that important to most people. I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I just think it's a very inside politics issue for most people. I don't know that it's a winning issue for either party, to be quite frank.
Well, it may not be a winning issue, but we have an immigration crisis.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the president and vice president have not visited the southern border. As bad as it is, they still haven't gone there. And I understand they don't want the media to be there to see what it is
What would
and
they learn
expose
from
what it
going,
is.
though? What would they learn from going that someone can't tell them?
What would they learn?
From going to the border that someone can't tell them?
It's the perception.
Ah,
You're the president of the United
optics.
States. You have a southern border crisis, and you refuse to go.
Got it.
Kamala Harris has been tasked with this. What has she done in the last 2 weeks since she has been tasked with this to show that this is an important issue? There's a crisis on our border. 7-year-olds are being dropped over, fences to be able to come into the United States. What
No,
has
that's
she
fine.
done?
That's fine. But you're saying it's the going to the border is about optics. They could learn everything
It's
from
about
DC.
transparency. There's been a media blackout, and that's not transparency. This was supposed to be the most transparent administration, and
Yeah.
it hasn't been.
Yeah. Also, I do think that they need to be more transparent with the video from some of the facilities. They've released some, but not others. So that's a beautiful point of agreement, Amanda, on which we can end. Amanda Makki, attorney and Republican strategist, telling us many different things which I am sure our audience will find very interesting. Amanda, I really appreciate your time.
Thank you.